You know, every so often an idea comes along that just completely shakes up everything we thought we knew. Today, we're diving into one of those. It's a single sentence from the 20th century, but man, does it pack a punch. It basically says that the world isn't just out there for us to find, we're actually helping to create what we see. Pretty wild, right? Let's get into it.
And here it is. What we observe is not nature itself, but nature exposed to our method of questioning. The guy who said that? Werner Heisenberg. And yeah, he was a giant in the world of quantum mechanics, but this is so much bigger than just a physics equation. It's a huge philosophical idea. So what on earth did he actually mean by that, and why should we care about it today? Well, that's what we're going to break down.
All right, to really get this, let's tackle the first part of that quote head-on. What we observe is not nature itself. I mean, that phrase alone is a direct challenge to the most basic, common-sense way we think about the world.
So, let me ask you, do we see reality as it truly is? It sounds like such a simple question, doesn't it? And our first instinct is probably to say, of course we do. But Heisenberg's idea, well, it forces us to slam on the brakes and really think about that gut reaction.
Our gut feeling, right? Our intuition tells us that when we look at something, we're just looking. It's a totally passive thing. We think of our eyes or a telescope or whatever as these perfect, crystal clear windows. We just peek through and bam, there's reality. Fixed, unchanging, totally separate from us. We're just the audience watching the show.
But here's where everything gets turned upside down. Heisenberg's insight completely flips that old idea. He's saying that the very act of looking, of measuring, of asking, it's not passive at all. It's an active process that can literally change the thing we're trying to observe. We're not just watching the play anymore, we are on the stage. Okay, so if looking changes things, how exactly does it do that? This brings us to the real heart of the quote, the second half. But nature exposed to our method of questioning. This phrase, right here, is the key to everything. So what does he mean by a method of questioning? Well, it's not just about asking a question with your voice. It's everything we use to investigate the world. It's our scientific tools for sure, but it's also our theories, our assumptions, our biases, and even the specific words we choose.
And this idea of a method goes way beyond the lab. Think about it. For a scientist, sure, it's the microscope. You can only see what fits in that tiny circle of light. For an economist, it's their financial model, which is totally built on assumptions about how people are supposed to act. What about a journalist? The questions they choose to ask an interviewee literally create the story they end up writing. See the pattern? Each method is like a flashlight in a dark room. It shows you one thing really, really well, but it leaves everything else in total darkness.
So when you put those two pieces together, the idea that observing changes things and the idea that our methods decide what we can even see, you end up with a completely new way of looking at our place in the universe. We're not just watching from the sidelines anymore. And this is the main event, the big takeaway. We are not just passively discovering a world that's already finished. We are active participants in the very act of reality revealing itself. It's like the universe doesn't just hand over its secrets, it responds to the specific way we choose to ask.
This really lays it all out, doesn't it? The old way of thinking drew this thick, solid line between us and the world, but Heisenberg's view just erases that line. It suggests this incredible dynamic dance between us and the universe, where what we call reality is something we co-create every time we look, every time we measure.
And this is why this matters to every single one of us, not just physicists. Seriously, think about it. A pollster who asks a leading question isn't just measuring public opinion, they're actually helping to shape it. Or in our own lives, the expectations we have for someone, that's our method of questioning them, can actually influence how they act around us. Once you see it, you start seeing it everywhere.
In the end, it all boils down to this really powerful idea. The answers we get from the world aren't these pure objective truths that we're just floating around waiting for us. In a very real way, they are a direct reflection of the tools we bring, the perspectives we have, and the questions we're brave enough to ask in the first place. So, I'll leave you with this. If the reality we perceive is so deeply tangled up with how we ask to see it, then just imagine what could happen. What new worlds, what incredible solutions, what amazing truths are just waiting for us to find them simply by changing the questions we ask? It makes you wonder, right? What happens when we decide to look at our world, and maybe even each other, in a completely different way?